Just like many of you, my whole entire life I've been living against the odds. More than ever in my life I am focused, serving hope to the hopeless, while living against the odds. I'm from the mud, the dirt of society, and that created this driving me to help the whole world that's living against the odds. I know some of you are struggling and probably pissed at God. I was too, but I realized nothing happened to me, it happened for me. Here to tell the story of everyone that's living against the odds. My parents did the best they could, but I felt like I wasn't loved in my childhood. Made bad decisions which paved the way, but I had to go through it to grow through it so I can serve the world today. Suffered anxiety and drug abuse, mentally not right, a couple screws were loose and still are, but I learned how to handle it. Realized I'll never get rid of it, so I had to channel it for good. I'll always be an addict, but now I am addicted to all this hope I give to you. Yo, I'm living proof that if you change your mind, you can change your life. Rest in peace to the old me, cause he had to die. I am redeemed, sober, recovered, clean. I ain't give it up, just had to switch it up the way I fiend. Now I fiend for the opposite on a positive level, against the odds. More than ever in my life I am focused, serving hope to the hopeless.
Serving hope to the hopeless. What's up? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully, everybody is having a blessed Saturday. I am just so grateful to be here tonight. I really am. I'm grateful to be here. I had a very busy day. I attended a funeral today. I attended a wedding today. And now we are doing a live stream on Saturday night with your boy, your host, Phil Tyler with Against the Odds Ministries. And we have a very special guest tonight. And I've known her for quite some time. And she is a local woman with an incredible story. And we're going to be pulling her up in just a minute. But I want to ask y'all to do me a huge favor. Please do me a favor. Please do us a favor tonight. We would like you to share this live out on your page. Share this live out in a group. Share this live wherever you want to share this live. I'm going to be sharing this live because we want to share hope tonight, because we don't know who's struggling out there, who's been going through it, right? Someone out there tonight could be struggling, and we want to share this live because we don't know how that might help people, right? It definitely does. And I want to welcome y'all. If you don't mind telling us where you're watching from, if you want to put your recovery date on the screen, go ahead and do that. We'd love to encourage that to get the comments going. But I am just so blessed tonight to have my friend Dannielle coming, and I'm going to bring her up right now. I want to bring her up because she's going to be coming to tell her story. That's right.
Hey.
How we doing?
I'm doing good. You?
Good. Definitely good. I'm glad that we got everything figured out. We had some last minute stuff going on. We're launching the live a couple minutes behind schedule, but guess what? That's the way I like to do it, to be honest with you. It gets people waiting like, hey, are they going live? Hey, are they going live? So then they be looking on the page, and then they might not miss it, huh? But anyway, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing this live on your page, share this live in your recovery group, share this live wherever you want to share this live. We want to give hope to the hopeless tonight. There are people out there. I know I was one of them that felt hopeless. For real, I felt hopeless. The decisions I made in my life, I continue to make the same decisions over and over. The decisions I made kind of define my hopelessness, and no one's hopeless. And Dannielle's here tonight to tell her story of hope, because I'm sure she's felt hopeless at one point in her life too. And we do recover, and that's why we're here. We're here to recover out loud, so no one is left dying in silence. Right, Dannielle?
Correct.
Amen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just let you take it away. You can go ahead and start telling your story if you'd like to. We definitely would love to hear your story. You can just tell us, kind of what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. And I know there's some women out here that are encouraged and are eager to hear your story and your testimony of hope, because I know you have a powerful story, sister.
All righty. First, I want to say thanks for having me. My name is Dannielle. I'm a woman in long-term recovery. I got clean November 2nd, 2016, but I've been in the rooms for 15 years. I always say that because I didn't lose what I learned in that time. It all stuck with me, and it's all relevant, and it's all useful. So I guess to jump early on. I was born April 17th, 1988 in Fort Worth, Texas. I have 2 half siblings at the time. I did not know my biological father. I did have a dad that met my mom when she was pregnant with me and married her when I was 4 months old. And then he adopted me when I was 14 years old. And regardless of the fact that I had a good dad in my life that was my dad and raised me as his own, I think that that's really what planted a seed in me where I was not like worthy or accepted or wanted. And so that kind of stuck with me my whole life, where I just dug into terrible relationships and men and just looking for that daddy issue to be filled, I guess. But yeah, my early childhood was pretty normal. I had the same friends all the way through elementary school. I guess it was kind of dorky, I would say. I always say I had the helmet, hairspray helmet, tight ponytail. It was cute. But yeah, I had the same group of friends all the way through elementary school. I remember it was good. In 5th grade, I found, starting on the simple stuff, 5th grade, I found the cigarettes at the playground in the trash can. I remember bringing them back to my friend's house and smoking them. I was the teacher. We were playing school, and I would have a smoke break. And my friend's mom came home and saw that we were smoking and called my mom and told her that I had been found smoking. And I remember that whole walk home thinking that if I just went home and told my mom first, that I would get ahead of it. And that's where another one of my, I would say, defects of character, I guess, came from, where I was really good at talking my way through anything. And that stuck with me my whole life. I could talk a judge out of a sentence. I could talk a PO out of a freaking punishment. Sorry. And I learned that at a young age. So I got ahead of it, and things weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. When I was 9, my mom had her tubes untied and had biological children with my dad, who raised me. So I went from the baby of a family to eventually the middle child of a family. They had 2 more kids. And so I went through a lot of identity, not loved, am I as important kind of thing when my dad had his own kids. Even though like he loved me the same, it wasn't, but again, another seed of doubt, kind of, a lot of issues sprung from that. In junior high, we moved up into a different neighborhood, which isn't like far from where we were, just on the other side of the tracks pretty much. But we moved into a brand new house. And people that didn't give me the time of day, like when I was in elementary school, all of a sudden noticed me. Like the day I moved into this new house, one of my friends called me, well, my friend now, and was like, hey, you want to hang out? This person didn't even know who I was in elementary school. All it took was like one little move on the other side of the road for people to see me. And that like just spiraled out. Like I left all the friends that were with me from the beginning, just left them on the back burner, find all these other people that like weren't good people. They were all popular kids, I guess. And so from there, I was like always chasing the acceptance, wanting to be liked by everybody. School became like really unimportant to me. And I was nominated for most enthusiastic outgoing. So that meant something to me, but it didn't mean nothing to anybody else, because I was far from either of those things. Summer after junior high, I met one of the first toxic men in my life. His name was Gino. And I remember at that time I was kind of like into church camp and stuff like that and going to the youth group. And my dad says that I told him that I wanted to save him, but he was more like the demise for me, I wanted to save a lot of people. In 10th grade, I just kept going through multiple friends, abandoning them, letting them, self-sabotaging the relationships, just pushing people away, not letting anyone get close to me. Started smoking pot around then, drinking regularly, started skipping school. For me, like the party was never over. And I think that's partially why I lost a lot of friends, because, they'd party on Saturday and go back to school on Monday. And like, for me, like that wasn't normal. Like I didn't understand how they did that. Like I just wanted to keep going. In 2004, I had my first like real run-in with the law. I was at a party with some people and they were all drunk and they asked me to drive and I only had a permit. So I drove the car and while I was driving, these 2 guys got in a fight in the backseat of the car and I was driving way faster than I should have been over by the refinery in St. Paul Park. And I took this turn and almost missed the turn, almost went off the curb, like into the whatever big hill right there. And the second I hit that curb, a cop lights lit up behind us. And My mom always says like she had a sense, like every time I get in trouble, she'd sense things. And like I was already going through some stuff then, but she's like, I woke up that night and I knew something was wrong and I got that call. And that's when I got charged with, well, I got a permit violation and reckless driving before I even had a license. So that was fun. Around the same time, I started stealing my mom's medications, her credit card, any spare change, whatever she had, I would steal from anybody pretty much. Like I would literally army crawl into my mom's bedroom and steal out of her purse while she slept, crazy stuff. I would take her spare key and drive down. She worked at Applebee's at the time. I would drive down to Applebee's and take stuff out of her purse and put the key back, just crazy stuff. And I stole from anybody that people were close to me. I always thought that they would forgive me, I guess. It took me a while to like steal from or like do anything to anybody that I didn't know, which is weird. So the summer before 11th grade, I met the second toxic person in my life, I guess. An older guy that was going into college, and I was obviously still in high school. He went to school at NDSU. And that summer, we hung out and drank like nonstop. And then once he went back to school, I would run away to Fargo every chance I got. Like I would try and go there when school started every day and get back before school was over, like, which is a really long, I mean, that was a crunch. We'd drive like 100 miles an hour the whole way there. Like that's crazy. But we'd go pick him up and come back, and like being the age that I was, and I would go out there and just get wasted. He was in a fraternity. And I remember just being wasted at these frat houses and just being this kid out in North Dakota. I know one time we went out there and I went to get money out of an ATM machine. And one of the bills that the ATM machine gave me was a counterfeit $20 bill. And I tried to use it somewhere. It was not my counterfeit $20 bill, but it came out of the ATM. So I went and used it somewhere, and they noticed that it was counterfeit, and the cops came, and then they put me in the detention center out there, and my mom had to drive all the way to Fargo to pick me up, and she was not happy, and that was probably one of the most uncomfortable drives ever back. But there's like little God moments in my life where I feel like God was like, okay, you need to go home. I'm just going to drop this, little things. So yeah, that was interesting. So like from there, I continued to hurt a lot of people that were close to me and steal from them. I stole my sister's coin collection. At one point, I stole my grandma's change jar, and it wasn't like a small change jar. It was one of those giant jugs, like that she'd been saving for
Culligan
years. Yeah. And I was so shady that I took out the screen. She was letting me stay at her house when my parents were gone, out of the kindness of her heart. And I took the screen out of her window and I heisted it out to one of my friends outside the door. And she called me and she gave me all the opportunities in the world to bring this money back. And I didn't, because, I just didn't care. And I think she told the cops it was less than it was, but it honestly, I should have had a felony from that. But she knew that it was more than they thought, but she didn't want me to be in trouble. So, yep, I was constantly in trouble. Stealing, running away, skipping school, always grounded. The second I was not grounded, I was at it again. It was just enough time to calm me down. I was running the races again. I never left the police department has like a runaway list on their wall, and I never got erased for a while there because they were always looking for me. I spent 36 days at the JDC for the theft and some truancy. I was sent to Thistledew Boot Camp in 2005, which was wilderness boot camp, and I was there from December 1st to December 21st, winter. Like we would hike in the middle of the winter, freezing cold, up north for miles and miles every day. We'd stop and we would camp on frozen lakes. Like it was insane. That was pretty cool, actually. I kind of liked it. I've never seen like the stars the way they looked at night when you go to the bathroom on a frozen lake in December. Maybe all the time, but it didn't do me any good. I have the memories now, and again, I came back and I was right back to the races. In 11th grade, I finally got called into the office and I got kicked out of school because halfway through the year, I was absent more than I actually attended. And they weren't really fond of that. And so they sent me to the ALC, where I never understood the ALC. Let's take all the bad kids and put them with the other bad kids so they can be bad together. Yeah. And
then they took Woodbury too and put them in Cottage Grove. All the bad kids from all the towns
in
go
one
right
spot.
there.
Yep. It makes it easier on them. So I ended up actually dropping out of there eventually and planned on getting my GED, but it took a while. Got it way later in jail. In 2007, I have like one of the first memories of stealing from somebody I didn't know. I was at a party in Cottage Grove at the motel or whatever, and at the time there was a Rainbow across the street. And I left this party, and for some reason I thought I would go to Rainbow and just lift car doors and see if I could find some change, right? Well, I found a credit card in there, and I took this credit card and I went into Rainbow and tried to use it, which was dumb because whoever's credit card is in the car in the parking lot of Rainbow, it's probably in Rainbow. And so I tried to use this card, and the person who went to check me out knew that that it wasn't my card. The person whose card it was worked there. And so they called the person up to confront me, and I just walked out the door like, I didn't see them, I don't know you, whatever. I just went on my way and actually ended up going across the street and buying cigarettes at the gas station and going home. But later that morning, I mean, they already had enough interaction with me. They knew where to find me. So they found me at my mom's house, and I got in trouble for that. I blew a .114 and 114 at 7 o'clock in the morning. So that was another underage consumption. So 2007, 2008-ish, my biggest crime, I guess, not crime, but so Steve, the guy who was from NDSU, we weren't together anymore, but I was at a party in Cottage Grove, and he asked me to go pick up some people in Afton, and would give me gas money. And at the time, like, it was just gas money, but it was a big deal. He didn't give me the gas money. And we got in a big altercation, and he came to like do something in the car, and I thought he punched me, and he did not really punch me. But at the time I was living with some people in North Minneapolis, which is a whole nother story. And so I was upset about this whole situation, and I called my people out in Minneapolis, and they came out, and they literally destroyed this guy's truck, and they beat up a girl with a crowbar and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And after the cops were called and Steve came back to find his truck like that or whatever, they kind of chased us through Cottage Grove. And so high speed pursuit through Cottage Grove, right? They were looking for me, but I didn't have my name registered on my car yet because my grandma just gave me this car 21 days earlier. Gave me this car, which was seized in the commission of a crime that day. So I actually, that was big. I ended up going to jail for that too. I blew .158 at like 6 o'clock in the morning, still underage. They charged me with attempt to start a riot because I guess when you call multiple people to the scene just to cause some damage, they try to charge me with it. It's a riot, right?
Goodness.
Who knew? And then I got aiding and abetting, first degree property damage, second degree assault, third degree DWI. I spent quite a lot of time in jail on that one. Like I said, 21 days before that, my grandma had given me her car that I loved growing up, her Saturn, for my birthday. And I know she regrets to this day giving it to me because I literally lost it. So from there, I was sentenced to NA meetings and like lots of other stuff and intensive probation. And so I started going to meetings, and that's where I met Rob, my kid's dad. I met him at my very first NA meeting, and I got pregnant the very first time I slept with him. Looking back now, I feel like another God moment where I feel like if I didn't have something outside of myself to continue to try and do better or be better, I probably wouldn't be alive today. And so I feel like God kind of placed that. I mean, it wasn't ideal, but like it gave me something outside of myself to try for. So I used a couple of times during that pregnancy, and when Christian was born, I ended up moving with his dad and Rob and his dad. And so I was still violating probation a bunch then. And my probation officer at the time, he was a high intensity PO. He would just little slap on the wrist because I think because I was going through what I was going through, I was pregnant, I had kids, showed up at the hospital. There was kind of a bond there where it was like he just wasn't doing what he should have done for me because he felt bad. So when Christian was 11 months old, we found out that he had cancer. He had retinoblastoma, which is a super rare cancer. 300 kids a year in the US get it. And Christian had it. And so I drank to cope with finding out that I forgot to mention, at my 3-month pregnancy or my 3-month checkup after Christian was born, I found out I was pregnant with Brody. So my kids are 1 year and 11 days apart. So 11 months, we found out Christian has cancer. I'm fully pregnant again. I go drink because that's what I know how to do, to cope. And I got in trouble for that and ended up going to jail. I remember Christian was starting chemo like the very next day. And I went to the bail hearing, and the judge looked at me and he said, why should I let you out of jail? If you don't care enough about the child that you're carrying to not drink, then why would you care about that child? And so he ended up letting me go. Like, it stuck with me forever. So going through all that stuff, continued to violate. I had 7 violations on this. It took me, like, it was supposed to be a 9-month high intensity probation. I had a stay offered, that was off the table through the violations. Eventually they put me in the offender recovery program, which is kind of like drug court, ORP. So I had to do that, and I had to go to treatment when Brody was 3 months old, and then I had to go do some jail time also because I kept violating. So I had to move back to Washington County also when they offered me the ORP program. So I moved back with my parents for a while. Stayed clean. Rob bought us a house and moved in with him. And then, let's see. Oh, I missed a whole page here. You can't tell I'm going off note cards.
No, you're good. You can't even tell.
Okay, so yeah, moved in with Rob. Drink.
I met you in 2008, right? Or was it before then?
Way before that.
Okay. Yeah.
I knew you when you lived I knew you when you lived in Hastings above the bar.
Oh, yep. With Casey.
Yeah.
With Casey. Yeah, I used to work with him at that was 2005. 2004, 2005. Must have been.
Andy.
And Andy Sanko. God rest his soul. Yep. Andy. Yep. We used to work at Quality One. Yep.
Okay, I found where I was at. So around that time, actually, so I stayed clean for a while. I started beauty school. Rob bought a house, moved in with him. So at that time, like, I really struggled with identity. Like, I started in recovery, but never got a chance to really do any of the work. And then all of a sudden I had to juggle all these different titles. Now I'm a mom, I'm a homemaker, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a student, and I just never worked on myself. So that really was hard. And I ended up continuing to struggle with use throughout that. And I had an affair on Rob early in recovery, early in our relationship with somebody in recovery, which kind of dampened his relationship with NA to this day, which is unfortunate. So I cheated on him, again, searching for, to fill those voids. He took me back from that and ended up cheating on him again with somebody, a 40-year-old out in freaking Nebraska, from Nebraska. That's a whole other story, but yeah, it took off there. He continued to take me back, and it wasn't a big deal, but eventually it kind of broke us apart. So he kicked me out of the house, and I ended up moving in with my sister. And from there, there's just way too much idle time for me. I didn't have my kids. All I thought about was them. I hung out with a friend from high school who introduced me to meth. I mean, I already tried it earlier on in my life, and but he introduced me to it again. And it was like everything I needed. All of a sudden, like, I could be a good beauty school student. I could be a good mom and chase my kids around. I could keep my house clean. I could do all the things that I needed to do. So, I mean, I was pretty high functioning for a while. That's because I used enough to feel normal until I was using enough to get high. And so I moved back home and really lived a double life for quite a while there. Rob didn't even know I was high. I was going to NA meetings. Watched one of these things he did the other day where somebody was talking about laying in bed pretending to sleep. We've all done that.
Oh, I've done that.
It made you feel a little better. At least you rested.
Yeah. Especially when your girl or your boyfriend don't do it. You definitely acting like you're sleeping because they know.
So yeah, I would, I'd bring my kids to school. I'd go get drugs during the day, come back. So eventually, like I said, I was doing just enough to feel normal because I am diagnosed ADHD. And then I was getting high, and then I realized I couldn't function without it. Like, I couldn't get up and make my kids meals if I wasn't high. I couldn't do anything. I started to feel dead inside. And before people even addressed the issue, before Rob even said anything, like, I hated who I had become. Looking in the mirror and just all of it. So when Rob started to notice, around February 2016, I went to the gas station to get some from somebody, and it took way longer than it was supposed to. And I came home and I swore up and down, like, no, I was just at the gas station. I ran to somebody. We were just talking for like 45 minutes to 2 hours. Really? Who sits at the gas station and talks for 2 hours to somebody? So he wasn't really having it. And we ended up getting a big argument, and he ripped my jacket off of me and found the drugs in my jacket. And he called my mom, and he was like, I knew she was using, whatever. My mom called the cops, sent the cops over to the house. It was my understanding in the beginning that it was because of a domestic dispute. She thought it was, but I read the police report and she knew that there was drugs there. I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at her at all, because, you know, it had to be done. So the cops showed up, and I didn't go to jail. The cops sat with me for a good hour and a half at my table. I told them, those are my drugs. I'm sick of using. I don't want to use anymore. I need help. And he literally said, like, I don't see somebody who needs to go to jail. I see somebody who needs help. And he left me home that night. He said, you need to be in a treatment by whatever, or a CPS case is going to open. CPS opened the case because the kids were at the home the time of the dispute, and the drugs were in the home. So, so I went to treatment right away, but I made up a lie about somebody being there when I got there that wasn't really there. And so I had Rob come and get me. And so I came back home right away. And I did outpatient treatment. So I managed to stay clean for like 6 months then. And then around my 6 months of recovery, I was asked by a friend that I used to get high with if I would take him in my car to get his driver's license. He needed to take his driver's test. Well, when he passed his driver's test, he wanted to celebrate by getting high. And I couldn't say no to that. So at that time, CPS was still involved, very involved. And they would do little things like, okay, now Rob's mom has to be there in the morning. I can't be alone with the kids, little things like that. And like, it just got really hard for everybody. And so this time when I had relapsed, Rob called the CPS lady, and he was like, you said that you would take her out of this house if she used again. You said that. And so that day, they ended up having to call the cops who took me out of the house, like just crying and sobbing. And like, it was probably the worst day of my life. Like literally being pulled out. They're like, you can't go back to your house. That's not your house anymore. That's your kid's house. And so I didn't know what to do from there. So like that night I went to a meeting that I was posting on Facebook, and hold on, intermission. I was posting on Facebook like I always do about everything. And somebody had messaged me who was pretty well known in the rooms of recovery that I thought like wanted to help me. Like this was a man that had a good 8 years clean, and he's like, meet me at this parking lot out in Minneapolis, and I'll talk to you. And I thought like he was going to try and talk me through this. And so when I got out there, he's like, well, you got all these options. You could go get high and end up somewhere you don't know where you are, or you could go home, which you probably won't. He's like, or, so he takes me to go get more drugs, puts me up in a hotel room and tries to sleep with me. And that time I ended up having somebody else. I mean, I was texting people from the jump that I knew what was going on, that I needed people to be in this. And I took the opportunity to get the hotel room, but like I needed people to show up before that happened. And this person with 8 years clean, who was really well known in the recovery community, like a poster child, wanted to watch me get high and wanted to sleep with me. So to this day, like, I mean, I really struggled at first with that, just coming back into NA, where it's like, I just felt a certain way for a while. So from there, like I ended up going on a bender from like the day I lost the kids to that. I remember driving, like I hadn't slept in 4 or 5 days, and I was driving, and I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. And so I stopped at a gas station, and I tried to find somebody to come and drive my car, anybody. You know, nobody would come and do it. So I'm like, fine, forget it. Did some jumping jacks, drank some coffee, and 5 seconds after I got in the car, I had hit a tree at 45 miles an hour and totaled my car. So the cops, well, first I called my friend. I'm like, what do I do? She's like, you leave. I'm like, normal people don't just walk away from an accident. I have no drugs on me. Like, why would I leave? So I went back, and the cops came, and unfortunately, you know, I hadn't been in trouble in a while, and I was just a girl from the suburbs at this point. And so they were like, are you good? I'm like, yeah. Where are you coming from? I said, the casino. All right, well, we'll call a tow truck and bring you to the gas station, where my drug dealer, Vanessa, at the time, which I want to give a shout out to her because she's clean, works at Teen Challenge now, and she's killing it also. So
I might have seen her today if it's the right Vanessa.
V? Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
So I ended up calling her, and she came and got me, and she kept me clothed, and she kept me sheltered and she kept me high. And I always look back now and I'm like, it was her way of caring the way she knew how at that time. She even tried to keep me going to treatment. She would take me to treatment during the day, and I ended up getting kicked out of there because I couldn't stay awake. I was falling out all the time, and they were like, it's really a distraction to everybody. So at that point, my car was gone, and I, again, look at it like God took that last vehicle of, you know, to run with, and he took it from me, because if I had it, I would have kept going. So I feel like that was a godsend there. And on Mother's Day that year, I finally went home, which I have the saddest picture of me with my kids on Mother's Day with my mom at the restaurant, just looking terrible. But I ended up going home and I tried to stay clean. I'd go to meetings. Sometimes like all it took was one call and I was out the door, just because I was still in a hurt place from not having my kids and all that stuff. So like I felt like I was using it against my own will at that time, where I would stay clean for a while. It'd be a call and I'd be gone. And before I even knew what the hell happened, I was high again. That's how quick it went. It came to a point where like I just wanted to die. Like I felt like I was so miserable and I wanted to die, and I didn't feel like there was anybody that I could call and tell that to, because everybody that I knew felt the same way. They were just as miserable as I was. And so in the time that I was waiting, sitting at my parents' house, I had still not been sentenced for that 5th degree in Washington County, and I caught my second 5th degree within like 4 months in Goodhue County, with people that I didn't know these people at all. I said I would drive a car from Zumbrota to the cities, and they got in an altercation at the gas station. The cops showed up. The trailer that they were pulling was stolen. There was all kinds of meth in the car that I was driving. Like I had no idea. So I ended up going to jail that night. And Goodhue, I told them that I had a pending 5th degree in Washington County, which was dumb. Looking back, it was dumb because they wouldn't have known that. But they held me until I was sentenced there. So I was in jail for a good 20-some days on a 5th degree. But I was lucky that happened, because I ended up getting sentenced on the 5th degree in Washington County 9 months after the offense. But because Goodhue sentenced me before, or on their case, Washington County still had to sentence me like it was my first one, because it was my first one on the calendar. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So both of these counties had to sentence me like it was my first drug charge. So I got a stay of imposition, a stay of adjudication there. And 9 months later, I look back, like in those 9 months, it was enough for my life to fall apart pretty much. Like the rest of it, it felt like a rug was ripped underneath my feet and I lost everything. So I got dosage probation at that. I don't know if you ever heard of dosage probation.
No, what's that?
So instead of years, I was sentenced to hours. I was sentenced to 250 hours of probation. And like, so my treatment was included in that. Instead of like just punishing you for doing the things you're doing, I would have like an hour to 2 hour long meeting a week with my PO, and we would go over assignments. And it was instead of like, why are you doing the things you're doing? It's like, let's figure out why you're doing those things that you're doing. And so like my PO kind of turned into almost like a sponsor in a way. Like I could talk to him in a way like I never felt like I could talk to a PO before. So that was really good, actually. I also had to be in treatment by the end of the week. Usually they're like, you have to have a Rule 25 by the end of the week. And they're like, no, you need to be in treatment by the end of this week when I went to my sentencing. So luckily, I had some friends that were able to get me into treatment pretty quick. And when I went to treatment that time, I was so ready. I was so ready to go to treatment. Like I knew that like that was it. I did my last little bit of drugs in the bathroom. When I was all done, my mom did not want me to come home. My PO did not want me to come home. I took the reins and kind of wrote up a contract. And I was like, if I do this, can I come home? And I wheeled my way back. And luckily, like it went well. Like it did. It really, I followed through with my end of the bargain. I didn't get high anymore. I got a job. Dosage was going really well. I finally got done with that. They actually ended up writing an article about me in Probation Magazine, whatever the hell it is, because they're still trying to roll out this probation thing in Minnesota. It's still a thing they're trying to make happen around here. And I was a success story to them. Like I had been in and out, probation officer after probation officer, and like they were like, this is a successful person now. So that was kind of cool. So I started going back to NA meetings a bunch. Moved back home after outpatient treatment. I applied at Tapestry for Meridian in 2018. It's a women's treatment center in St. Paul. My background came up around then, and I was unable to work there because they didn't want to wait for me to get a set aside. So that kind of, was a blow. So I kind of lost my drive to work in the treatment field. So I started going to meetings a whole bunch. I was working as a cleaner. I've been in a lot of service in NA. Like I have chaired 2 meetings. Well, I chair 1 meeting now, but I was chairing 2 meetings forever. I've been the secretary of our area chair, the pig camp out, all kinds of things you can think of. I was running meetings during COVID on Zoom. I was running meetings during COVID at the park by my house every Monday and Friday, and a lot of people showed up, and it was amazing. And I know a lot of people that got clean and stayed clean through that because we had those meetings at the park. So I decided to apply again at another treatment center, and so also Meridian. But I applied in the middle of COVID. So when I started working there, they really needed me. Like everyone was gone, everyone was sick, and I came in there and I was like the rock star RS. So when my background came up, they were like, okay, we're gonna wait for you. So I put in for my set aside. Really cool. My PO that I had, Jake, wrote this amazing letter about the recovery community would be lucky to have her, and I sign off on anything that she wants to do, and she's a great person. It's like, you know, to look back at those things, I never would have dreamed that a PO would have said those things about me. So I ended up getting the set aside. And yeah, so over the last 2 years, like I've relapsed a little bit on my drug of choice, I always say, which was acceptance. Where the last couple of years, I've really dug myself a hole on worrying about the wrong things, and I kind of lost sight of my recovery for a while, and it dug me into a hole. And I remember in like May of this last year, like I was depressed again, and I was caring about the wrong things, and I knew like that wasn't good. And around that time, I started going on walks, and I kind of regained my connection with my higher power, and I was talking to him on these walks, and I was, you know, having these moments of meditation, and it completely changed my outlook on stuff. And I was doing really well. People noticed like the change in me. And say it was in October, one of my friends died, and it was like right before my clean time. And like, you know, you get clean time and it's like everybody praise this person. Yeah, it's like you don't feel like the things that they're saying, and it makes you feel kind of fake. So that's what I was going through. And as I was processing my friend's death, so the weekend of my clean time came up, and I was just like, let's go. Like went to the casino, blew a bunch of money, like just wasn't feeling good. Woke up on Sunday that day or that weekend, and I hated where I was at. Like I was literally miserable in recovery, right? So I like posted on Facebook because, again, like I always do, I overpost on Facebook. One of my friends called me and she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm sitting in bed." And she's like, "Get up, let's go to church." And so I got up. I was like, she didn't give me time to say no. So I got up and I went to church, and that's another turning point, man. I just, ever since that day, like I went there and everything kind of fell into place. Like I needed to hear everything that I heard. And like I've been seeking that relationship with God again, and I just feel a presence in my life. Like I think that was the missing piece. Like, that was the same day that you messaged me and you're like, "Hey, do this with me." And I'm like, I just posted that I'm miserable and hating life. Do you want me to do this with you? Whatever, but here I am, you know.
Yeah, we had to reschedule a few times too. On me, my bad.
Not my fault.
No, my bad. But hey, you stuck. That's the thing. I was always taught when we're feeling out, we got to get out of ourselves.
Yep.
And you even said it when you said I'm a service junkie.
I know, you wouldn't put it in my banner. You're like, no.
It's too much. It was just too many words in there.
So yeah. Also at Twin Town, I moved positions. I was asked to move over to the administration side, so I work a little different line of work now, but I've been there for almost 2 years. I freaking love it there. Lots of other side stories I could have shared. Like over my clean time, I've been lucky enough to bring my dad, who raised me, into the rooms. When he needed it, he knew who to call. It's weird how like stuff shifts, where it used to be like the black sheep of the family, and now you got family members saying that they're so proud of you and they talk about you all the time, and they're proud, you know. So I get a lot of that from a lot of people, and it's still uncomfortable to this day.
It can be.
Yeah,
we're all proud of you.
Yeah.
A lot of people on the comments, for some reason, now I can't see. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Now I got to figure out. There we go. Oh man, I'm starting to learn how to use this computer a little bit. So what happened was, for some reason on this mouse, it's a magic mouse, and I accidentally hit it in a different way. and it zoomed all the way in. And I've never, ever, ever figured out how to unzoom out of it until now. Usually I have to close out of the thing and reboot everything because I'm that bright.
You did it.
Yeah, I did it. Thank God. I figured it out. You got to take your hands and close it.
Weird.
It is weird, but definitely. Yeah, we're all proud of you. I'm proud of you. I've seen a lot of growth in you over the years. I mean, we used to, I was like 2008. I just remember Boyd's Motel. That was probably 2008, but 2005, 2004 is when I met you, I believe.
Well, I told you I came across some prison letters from you, and I was like, dude, I won't even go into details of what you wrote, but you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you wrote me then.
Yeah. Yep. And the skull drawing on the page.
Yep.
Goodness.
You're like telling me why you were in SAG and like you got any spikes. It was no big deal. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, inciting a riot, you got charged with the same thing I was in there for too.
Yep.
I mean, that's what I was in there for, inciting a riot. Being drunk. Couldn't say no. Like you said, as soon as that phone rang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember the day you posted on Facebook, because that's one of the things that, even posting on Facebook, people respond to you. People respond to you and they say, and I reached out to you. I'm like, hey, what's up? And then you were like, oh man, I'm about to go to church with somebody I ain't been in forever. And that's when I was like, well, come on, let's share your testimony on here.
I think until recently I had this, like, I didn't feel like there was a God. Like I had a relationship with God when I was younger, and I felt like because I went through everything that I went through, it was like, how could there be a God? And now it's like I'm on the other side and I'm like, how could there not be a God? Because I got through what I went through. That's how I look at it now.
Amen. Look,
I love your post on Facebook. Thanks, Hunter.
Let's put some more comments on the screen.
Sorry if I talk fast, everybody, by the way. That's my anxiety.
No, you did good. You didn't talk fast. A lot of people were on here responding. I was throwing some comments up, but I didn't want to throw you off, so I didn't want to throw them up too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm always like, well, I do like to throw the comments up, but I don't want to.
Well, I wasn't looking anyways.
Yeah.
It's awkward because my dad put this, like, I have to come to my parents' house for this because our internet's all weird at my house right now. So, like, I'm not used to this webcam. Like, it's backwards and high. And so I feel like it's really awkward for me. So I wasn't reading anything down there.
Yeah, it's hard. Dallas says you nailed it. Dallas, shout out to you, brother. Let's see what Shar says. Shar says, I'm so happy for all my supporters. God is good. Janet, God loves you all. So do I. Amen. Mary.
Oh, Mary, I love you.
Yeah, she's been saying how proud she is of you. Cassie's out of Missouri.
Oh, Sarah. I hope James is good.
I think I seen James today too.
Did you? He's all right?
Yeah, I seen him at a funeral.
Okay.
But he seemed all right. He seemed like he said he was doing good. I seen him at a concert too. One of the concerts that was in the cities, he came. But this last time he said he's doing pretty good. This is Pam. Pam has an amazing testimony too. I'm going to just put some comments on the screen. People showing you love.
Yeah, because I probably won't go back and watch this.
Yeah, you don't have to watch. I mean, yeah, I get it. I wouldn't either. I know. I go
Dude, I
live
was
all the time.
stressing.
I go back on it and I start hearing myself. I'm like, mute. I'll just turn the volume down. Then I can't hear it. Then I don't get like that. I'm the same way.
So I've been stressing myself because I mean, with 6 years clean, like I've never tried to put my story in like chronological order, you know, and there's a lot of pieces that are missing to this day. And I've always been wanting to like keep stuff for some odd reason. And so I have like every homework assignment I ever did in ORP and the JDC at This'll all the police reports, everything that you could think of. And so I've been going through, like, not just because of this happening, but like I've been going through all this stuff trying to like make sense of my past and put all the pieces together. And so I'm sure there's like a lot of stuff that I missed, but I mean, I think I hit the big stuff.
You did. You hit a lot of stuff. You hit a lot of stuff. You did. And that's what happens. We tell our story. I mean, I just see God's favor in your life the whole way through. Even from the time that cop said, listen, I'm not bringing you to jail. And I want to admit to you too, I told on myself a million times. It's because we were so broken and so hopeless, right? We were so ready to stop that we told on ourselves and we didn't even want to. We were like, man, it was the dumbest thing I ever did. But really, when we think about it, it was almost smart to do that, right? Mm-hmm. Right? It was like, hey, I told them I did it all the time when I stole cars. If you look, I look at my mugshots. I got a lot of the assignments that I did too, like from treatment and stuff. But I was homeless. I was, I couldn't save a lot of stuff. I was living in hotels, but I do have like everything from this time. I saved everything. I got all my mugshots from Washington County. I mean, and when I look through those, I see the progression of hopelessness when I look at those mugshots. I am not playing. Like, first one, just a young guy that made a mistake. The next one, a young guy, maybe the third, the fourth, the fifth. You start seeing the depression, hopelessness. Like, man, what am I doing? I can't figure it out. I was drinking, Great Cloud Island, blacked out, drunk, run in a stolen car, right?
Do you have to pay for your mugshots? Because I have a lot there too.
You do. From Washington County, they ain't playing. And they don't even give you a PDF. They bogus. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. They are bogus for that. Like, they give you them all, and they like give you the whole arrest record. They'll print out everything, but they didn't even give me a PDF. It's like I wanted a PDF, but I got some of them. That's the first one. First one ever, right there. That's the first one.
All mine are Washington County, all of them, except the Goodhue one, which I thought I looked good in.
This is all Washington County right here. Every one of these is Washington County. Every one of them. Here comes we getting hopeless now. We getting hopeless now. Look at that. I mean, now we getting real hopeless. Look at that hair. And then look, that was October 6th of 2001. Eminem phase. This was December 11th of 2011. A couple months later. 2002. Drunk. I mean, just, and then you start seeing hopeless. Like, you see the scar on the mark on my face. I was in St. Paul Park. I'll just keep it real. I was in St. Paul Park at a kegger with a bunch of people, and I felt like I was all alone. I felt like everybody was out to get me. Nobody cared, right? This acceptance going on inside my head. And I left. And my thing was to go car shopping and look for keys in the ignition, take the car, drunk. And that's what I did. And I drove it down to Hastings. And I couldn't get any dope. I was looking for the dope. I get so drunk, I got to get the dope. I couldn't find any dope. I drove it back to St. Paul Park. I'm going to park the car back. I'm just going to take it back. I drive right by the cop shop. Right on the frontage road there. Man, the cops come out of the lot. Cherry's blazing. Phil's gone. He's on a high-speed chase through St. Paul Park, y'all. St. Paul Park is not a spot to go in a high-speed chase in the city, in the neighborhoods. So I jump out of the car. What do I always see on like cops? Oh, they always jump out of the car when it's running. The cops will stop the car. That's the dumbest thing I ever did. I jumped out of the car when it was running, like thinking the cops are going to try to stop the car instead of stop me. Well, they chased me. They didn't chase the car. So they kept coming after me. And I was so drunk, I ran full speed into a chain link fence. And that is how I got that mark. Because I ran directly into a chain link fence and laid myself out. Bam!
Oh boy.
I could have been one of the dumbest criminals. I'm not even playing. I mean, that was just a couple of mug shots. I'm still flipping through them. I'm not going to show them all. You know what I mean? We ain't got time for all that.
Yep,
hey,
I got 13.
Hope. Well, here we go. The cover
There you
of
go.
Neighbors in Chaska magazine with my family who've never seen me like that.
Well, that's definitely a far cry from the mugshots.
Far cry from the mugshot. So and I got the mugshots in the magazine to remind me, right? That's the past, y'all. And it definitely, I felt the same way. I didn't know you were that. I thought you was, I always feel guilty because I felt like I influenced so many people with bad things, right? But now hearing your story, I don't feel so guilty. Like you was running and gunning.
Yep.
You was running and gunning without me, but you know what I mean? But I still, and that's what probably maybe you did too. We influence people with the bad things. Now that we're in recovery, what are we doing? We're influencing people with the positive, with recovery. We're influencing you work at a recovery center. I remember when I worked at the Salvation Army, I loved it. It's one of the best jobs I ever had working with those men. You know, and now I get to do it for free with the ministry and what we do here and just mentoring people and in the rooms I did it, you know, sponsoring people. Giving back is so important. It is. And then when we are struggling, like both of my parents died in recovery. I'm not saying that I was struggling like I'm going to go use, but I was struggling like emotionally. And I talked about it with people and I was honest with people and they loved me up just like they loved you up. You know what I mean? And they encouraged me. And it just, man, just God does for us what we can't do for ourselves, even if we're mad at him. Mm-hmm. Even if we don't believe in him, he's still working. He's still working on you. It's so powerful. Like you say now, it's like, man, I wondered how God could do this to me. How God could be real if I went through all this stuff. But now you look back and you're like, how can God not be real? How can there not be a God out there with everything I've been through? And then you look back and you start making those connections. That's when we start to have those spiritual awakenings. Like, yo, like for real, like I feel it. You know what I mean? And it's powerful. And then we want to go tell other people. It's amazing. It is amazing. You did a great job tonight too.
Thanks. I was stressing all day.
You were a little bit anxious.
A little bit.
Macy, shout out to you. I've had your comment up here for quite some time. Macy, I love you, sister. Still praying for baby Amelia. Maybe I'll put some more comments on here, get some more people up here. Courtney Harrington's in the house. Another sister with a powerful testimony. God's doing a lot in her life too. She can relate. Hunter, I'm super proud of you, Dannielle. Thank you for being an inspiration and a leader in the recovery community. You are a miracle. Much love. Listen, from the beginning of your story, when we first sober up, when we first get into one day at a time thinking, right? We never imagined that somebody's going to say that to us.
Right.
That's the result of doing the work. That's the result of doing the work that God puts in front of us. And you continue to do the work.
That's my mom.
That's your mom?
Yeah.
Shout out to Ruth. Thank you for being here, Ruth. That's what's up. It's always nice to have, and like you said, your family's proud of you now.
I invited all my family to watch this.
You did?
Yep. Well, here, I'm so nervous, and I'm like, I'm gonna invite all 2,000 people on my Facebook.
Now I'm gonna get even more
I will
nervous.
go big.
Let's see. That's Mike Miller. Shout out to Mike Miller. There we go. Dannielle, the OG, triple OG service junkie. That's right. The OG, triple OG. That's what I'm talking about. Heather Conley's in the house, Tennessee. We got people watching from all over the United States. Do we got anybody watching from outside the country tonight? If you are, go ahead and make. Oh, we do. My boy right here. This is my guy right here. Davin Atwater from Nova Scotia, Canada. My man.
Canada.
Yeah. Great man right there. Good man. We got a question.
How did I develop my relationship with God? I think it's still being developed, to be honest.
Amen. That's good. That's okay. And I'm just running through the comments here. I'm super behind because I had that one pinned up for a while. Went on a tangent. Y'all know how I told her before. I was like, I'll be putting the comments on the screen. You ain't got to read them because if you're like me, I'll get sidetracked. Jordan says, "Thank you for sharing." Thank you for sharing from Alicia Marie. Shout out to Hastings. Misty's on here too. Misty was on here for a second. Yep. Misty. I was just talking about that. You've been through a lot, sister. You had some predators in your life, especially from recovery rooms. You know what I mean? And you know what? Before I forget, shout out to Rob. Shout out to Rob. For real. Shout out to Rob because he stuck with you. He stuck by you. And that takes a lot of guts, courage, and strength.
He just celebrated 15 years clean in November also.
Yeah. Shout out to that brother. I've never met him. I don't think I've ever met him. No, I never met him, but I see you on Facebook. And I know a little bit of your story. I remember when you were struggling. I bet I remember that time when that person tried doing that to you, meeting you. I remember when there was I remember a little bit, you know what I mean? And I remember that. I do. I remember there was a time where you were hurting and you were trying to get in treatment and then you did. And I didn't know the whole story behind it, but that's, you shared, and that takes a lot of strength. Watching from Indiana.
I like Indiana.
You do?
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Meshi. I work with Meshi.
There we go. She got you. You were tearing her up. That's good. That's good. I'll be getting teared up too sometimes. Big old tough guy like me. That's good. I always tell people, man, God gave us these emotions for a reason. They teach us things. They really do. And I'm just so glad that you're back into your kid's life and it shows complete restoration. It really does. Because I remember that time that you were really hurting.
How long have you been clean?
Since 2010.
So let's see, in 2010
October
when I lived in
15th. But
you were trying to help me get clean in like 2012 or something.
Yep. I don't know the year. I just remember like you were struggling on. It might have been the same time as another friend of mine from Hastings was trying to get. And what we did was me and my wife took her in the house and let her stay with us for a few days until we could get her into Teen Challenge. And then she ended up going to Teen Challenge, but then she ended up leaving Teen Challenge.
Oh, I did that once too. I got accepted to Teen Challenge. I don't remember what year that was. And my mom brought me and I went in and I was like, hey, this is not for me. And I walked out the back door pretty much. And that was it. So I don't really count that one, but I've been doing a lot of treatments.
Yeah. And she ended up leaving, but now she's doing well. So what happens is seeds get planted, right? You know what I mean? I believe I was working in South Dakota at the time. And she and my wife okayed it, right? Because she was struggling. And I was like, I can take her with me to South Dakota. And that just shows right there trust in a relationship, right? Especially for a guy like me.
I feel like you offered me the same thing.
Yeah, we were trying to, I mean, I always am trying to help people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember that.
Yep.
I was like, South Dakota?
Yeah, I was working in South Dakota. Let me know. The thing was, is it would get, so what we used it for with her, I don't want to put anybody out there. What
gets you away.
It got her away from the
That's
meth.
all I needed too. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. It got her away from the meth for like 3-4, because I only worked like 3 days out there and I came back. It got her away. Then we had her at the house and we got her into treatment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's tough to let someone come to your house when you have kids that hasn't really got off it yet. It's hard to like be like, oh yeah, come to my house while you're still strung out while I go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was working in South Dakota like 3-4 days out of the week. Yep. It was I've always had a heart to help people. I always have. And I thought I was helping people when I was giving them drugs. That's how sad I was. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was helping people like, hey man, yeah, I'm helping her. She wants to get high. I'm gonna help her.
It's the best we knew how, right? That meant love to us.
Right. I always knew, like, deep down in my heart, like, man, I there's something better out there than this. Mm-hmm. It really is. But I never knew how to get there until, I had to, completely surrender my life over to God and start to take other people's suggestions and not mine. Yeah. Like, you got to work these steps. You got to get a sponsor. You got to do this. That's what I was like, okay, I'm willing to do whatever. I just don't want to go back to prison. It was my third time. I wasn't even 30 years old. Never had a driver's license. Never had like my own like car. You know what I mean? Never had nothing. I had the one apartment above where you knew where I was.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice place.
Yeah, right. That apartment's still kicking, I think, there.
It is. Every time I drive by there, I remember that.
Yeah, I used to pace them. People used to make fun of me. They're like, I bet you still got them track marks from you pacing back and forth in them windows.
Yep. You were dating some blonde girl then.
Yep. Definitely a horrible. And that's another thing I can relate with. Being in recovery and not being honest. Mm-hmm. So she bailed me out. I committed a crime and she bailed me out on it. I went to treatment and I was going to meetings. I was going to meetings and I was going to church all the time. But I was being dishonest. I was having relations with other girls at meetings when I was supposed to be faithful to her, right? And what it does is it catches up to us. It really does. The devil's in them details. And, I just feel terrible. And I decided that, I'd never do that again. And then, a part of my recovery was like, I was like, did I do that? I didn't have an excuse. Like normally it's like, I got an excuse. Like I was smoking meth, we were drinking, right? I got some excuse. I didn't have an excuse. So I was like, man, I'm a dirtball. That's how I felt. And I decided to never do that again and to treat, to try my best if I was going to be in a relationship with somebody to be faithful and if I had to cut people out of my life. And I did that before. I did that when I started dating my wife. I stopped talking to certain women that I was like, nope, not doing that. Like, I mean, we were talking, right? It's not like, but I knew that if I kept that going, that's just keeping the door open to some bull crap that I shouldn't be doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's another whole nother topic, you know, relationships in recovery. We talked about the other day, and predators, and you know what I mean? But yeah, you did a great job.
Thanks.
Great job.
I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, so now it's all good.
Yep.
That's right. Oh yeah, let me put this up. Crystal May, your PO that helped you really touched my heart. That's powerful. It is.
Yeah, I actually to this day, on my clean date, I always email Washington County Probation. He's not there anymore, but the PO that I had for ORP, I give him updates all the time on where I'm at. And POs come in who are on the ORP board come into Twin Town, and I'll be like, "Oh, you work for ORP?" I'm like, "I went through that program." They're like, "Come share." And I'm like, I'm not really a sharing person. I should go. I really should.
Yeah, you should. They got me. I'm going back. I mean, I'm going into some prisons now, getting some prisons. They got me sharing the staff at the DOC. Last time we were there, me and my guy named Micah Moline, we were there sharing our testimony in front of the population. Kind of they signed up to come to the event, and the staff were like, "Hey, y'all should come and share to our staff because we don't get to see." All they see is the revolving door. They don't get to see the success stories because like your probation officer, they like to see people that don't go back because they get a hard heart too. They do, because it's like I used to work at the Salvation Army. And when I was working at the Salvation Army, my heart started to get hard seeing everybody come the revolving door back and back and back. And I'm like, man, is this even worth it? Like, for real. Like, my heart started to get hard. And most people that get into corrections really have a heart to try to change someone. Most people that get probation officers there to help you stay out of trouble and be law abiding and get off probation. We always think they're out to get us. Like they're out to.
I always thought that.
Yeah, I always thought that too. Like they're my enemy. But when we start to change our life, we find out that guess what? They're there to help us, and they support us, and they continue to support you.
Yeah, I really wish that dosage thing was rolling out quicker than it is, because I mean that was life-changing for me to go from a authoritarian, I'm a PO, I'm here to punish you kind of relationship to let me figure out with you why you did what you did and help you fix it. Like, what's the problem? Like, the appointments that we had were long, and it was like I felt like I knew him on a different level. Like, if I wanted to get high, I could call and tell him I wanted to get high, and he wouldn't be mad at me for it. He would just talk me through it. That was the relationship I had with him at the end.
That's right. That's what's up. I know a lot of people that have good relationships with their POs, and people are always looking for people like you that had a good relationship with their PO to tell that testimony, because most people think their POs are out to get them. Shout out to Larry here. He's been clean off meth for 9 years now, and he says he's struggling with alcohol addiction, been sober for a week. Congratulations, brother. Started seeing you post on Facebook, and here I am. Well, we're proud of you, brother. Definitely. One day at a time. You know, recovery is not black and white. It really isn't. And we all recover at different I always say this, we all recover at different paces, and we all walk on the road of recovery with a different stride. Like, we don't all walk the same. We're all different, right? And we all have different stories. Generally, we have the same outcome though, right? And it looks like that you're finding your way. And so shout out to you, brother. We're proud of you. Keep going. You can reach out to me on this page if you need any kind of support or any kind of connections with resources or anything like that. And that's really what we're here for, to help people get resources. And now I'm going to start sending people to you.
Me?
Yeah, it's you. Twin Town, right. You have my beds open right now? Or I know that probably. Right now. Probably.
We always do.
And Twin Town tell us what Twin Town is a little bit.
So Twin Town actually has a little bit of a different population. We take people that no other treatment centers in Minnesota will take. We take men and who have violent crimes or have a rougher history. We take them. A lot of people are furloughed there from jail or prison or stuff like that. But we do have people that just come in. So it's definitely a different pace for working in a treatment center, but I love it. I really do.
There you go. That's what we need. I'm glad. So, I'm always looking for resources. I've known you for how long? And it took this, but hey, that's the way it works. You know what I mean? And I was one of those guys where like, so when I was in the joint, I filled out for Teen Challenge. Like I need to go back to Teen Challenge. Like that was I need to do that because I did this much time and I need more. And Teen Challenge was like, listen, bro, we ain't having you here. You can't come here. The way you behaved in there, we don't want you here. And I was like, what? I was kind of crushed. I really was. But here's a little something real profound and simple. My behaviors defined my character, right? My behavior, what I did defined the results. So when we make a decision and we do things, we have to deal with those consequences. And that was one of the consequences that I had to deal with. Is them not accepting me. But what happened was God seen my willingness. I was ready. I did 3 years in prison and the last 10 months in an intense treatment center. And I was like, you know what? I'm ready to go to Teen Challenge and do the 13 months long because I didn't even know they had a short term. I'm ready to do it. I'm all in. I'm ready. I need this. And God said, let me shut that door and we'll open this door. And and then I started. That's when I went to Life Rebuilders Midwest Challenge. And that's when I started to go to school to be an addiction counselor back in 2011. So and then today, many years later, I never got my addiction counseling degree because they didn't want to give me a set aside. I didn't have enough clean time when I was going to school for it. And it was a little harder back then to get the set aside. I had PO letters from my PO, letters from counselors, letters from all kinds of people. And they were like, you're doing everything that you need to do, Phil. You need to at least stay sober for 5 years. And I was like, what? Because I only had like 2 years. So I started my major, went for business management. Then I got married to my wife and I let her, I stopped going to school so she could get her degree. And I just have never went back to school. I am a peer certified recovery specialist.
Me too.
I don't get paid for it or anything. I'm not licensed. I have the training and stuff, but I'm not like working at a place or anything like that. I haven't been registered with the state, but I have both of the ethics and the certificates. So I'm technically am one, but I don't charge people for it. So if I'm mentoring a guy and coaching a guy, I'm not going to bill insurance for it. I just, it's just one of those things where I have a good career, so I don't need to. You know what I mean? But I do want to thank you. Let me because otherwise I'll sit here and talk all night. So let me see. I want to give a shout out to Leticia. That's all right. You can get the replay. Leticia works at Faith Lutheran Church in St. Paul. We're going to be having Against the Odds Ministries next Saturday. We'll actually be in a location. So we're going to start having a location to meet at, and we're going to have a speaker type of deal, but I'm only going to ask people on the last Saturday of the month that are local to come. So we have a brother named Logan Schoen coming next week, and he's going to tell his testimony. We're going to actually be in a location.
No, you're lucky you caught me on here because that would not be me.
But you can still show up on a Saturday night, maybe.
I would. Yeah, I would. But you wouldn't catch me doing that. I had so many people message me and be like, where is this at? I'm like, it's on your computer. Just settle down.
Yeah, you ain't coming to see. That's right. And she gave us some words of encouragement. Don't give up. You're doing great. Always. Maybe it could be a reply to something too. Sometimes I don't see that on here. Melody says, congratulations to all of us. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Dannielle, for sharing a very powerful story. That's right. Amen. I like this one right here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, but you're registered through God. Even better. That's right. That's right. That's right. Mary's on here. Thanks again for sharing, Dannielle, Nicole, and inviting me. Good night. And I'm now following ATO. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. I do. I appreciate all you guys and gals being here, showing up, showing support. We had about 70 something people on tonight watching your story. Glory to God. That's amazing. I always encourage you to go back and read the comments. Just turn down the volume. Turn down the volume because I want you to see what people are saying, because people
I'll
are
read the comments.
supporting you. Yeah. And then go in there and reply to people as you feel led and do stuff like that. But I do want to thank you. We will close it out. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. And that's okay. I mean, I'm probably the one that went over an hour and 15 minutes. You were done with your story way under an hour. It's just, that's how I do it. I don't have it. Like I told you, I don't have a time limit. We just let go and let God, just the way we're supposed to with life. Oh, we got to stop right on the dot. If y'all got to go, y'all can go. You know what I mean? That's what I always say. Y'all can go. But I don't stop until I feel like, all right, we're all done. Because sometimes things come up. Sometimes the comments, someone will be like, I'm struggling, I need help. We'll put it up there and we'll start talking to people, and that's just the way it goes. So I was glad that Larry showed up tonight. Larry, congratulations, my brother, for real. Congratulations on your realization. And that's the way it works. We don't all have the same kind of story, and you're getting convicted on what you're doing, and you're going to change that. And nobody does it perfect. Right, Dannielle? Nobody does it perfect. Yeah, we make mistakes. We got to learn from those mistakes, not live in them. Anyway, I want to thank you. So what I'll do when we close is I'll usually thank you, and then if you want to leave them with a message, like some kind of message, like anything like that. Just something that has been profound for you in your recovery, like something simple, like one day at a time has been key for me here. That's just an example. But if you want to leave them with a message or some kind of inspiration, and then I'll take you off the screen and I'll close us out, and then you can go about your night. And I know it is getting late.
You want my profound message right now?
Yeah. Go. Well, hold on. Let me thank you.
If it's profound, but I mean, like, for me, like, service is where it's at. Like, it's getting back to the program or whatever that saved my life, and if it wasn't for the people that were doing the service before me, then I wouldn't be where I am today. Like, we keep the doors open.
That's right. We keep what we have by giving it away. That's right. So service work was key for you and profound.
Service junkie.
Yeah, service junkie.
Yep.
Amen. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate you coming on and getting out of your comfort zone, right? Yeah. Because we know this wasn't comfortable for you. You were anxious about it all week. I remember, you even texted me like a week before, like, you gonna put one of them things on the screen for me? You gonna make an event for me? I'm like, yeah, we'll do it the week of.
And then I messaged you freaking out, and you're like, okay, first of all, just breathe.
Just breathe.
That's literally what you said. Just breathe.
Breathe just for a second. You're good. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, telling your story, taking time out of your day or night and on your Saturday night to come and share your testimony. I know that you provided hope tonight to people out there. I know that your story touched people's hearts because I was reading the comments, and I encourage you to go through and read them as well.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And you have a great day, and you just message me if you need anything. I'll be watching your posts too, always.
I know.
Somebody's knocking on the door. They're telling me to close it down.
Yep.
All right. Well, you have a good night. God bless you, and thank you so much. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. As always, it is always a pleasure to go live with you every day, any day, all day. It doesn't matter. I'm always grateful when you show up for our live streams and allow us to share testimony, and you comment and respond. It means the world to me. I'm so grateful for all of y'all. I hope you know that. I love you. And it is what? It is hope to the what? Hope to the who? Hope to the hopeless, y'all. We'll see y'all next Saturday night. Hold up. We're going to see y'all next Saturday night. We're going to be live. So if you're in, we're going to be live from Faith Lutheran in Frogtown, the Recovery Cafe in Frogtown. We're going to be live from there hosting a New Creation Recovery Church, and we're going to have testimony, and we're going to have worship. We're going to have a message, and we are going to go live at 7 p.m. Central Time Zone. I will announce it throughout the week. I'll create an event flyer as well, but I did want to give that plug. So next Saturday, we're going to be live at a location. And if you're from Minnesota, I encourage you to come down and check out what we have going on. Our first actual meetup spot at a brick and mortar. So it is going to be a blessing. And I hope that if you're around this area, you can come. God bless you all. And it is what? Hope to the what? Who's out there banging on my door? Hope to the who? Hope to the hopeless, y'all. Have a blessed day. God bless you. Peace. When you're blessed with a new life and you come from the trenches, man, you just want to tell everybody about it because there's hope. And when there's hope, there's lots of change.